Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and just do a review of the Final Audio E500 and to go from there. I'm going to go and put some notes on the screen. Please note that the notes are basically just, a little bit different from the video, but it does go over in much more detail on every single ear tip and all my thoughts regarding it. And so it might be helpful for you to check that out if you want to. Okay, so let's get right into it. So the thing about the Final Audio E500, there are some cool things you might want to know about it. So this, you can't buy this on the US right now. You can only get this in Japan. And so depending on where you're at, it's going to range anywhere from $22 to $32, depending on the situation if you factor shipping. Now that might seem a little costly, but what happens is you do get a full set of Final Audio E ear tips with it. And Final Audio E ear tips, these usually run you about $23 for a multi-pack. So the fact you're getting a multi-pack here for basically included with it, that makes the headphone like $10 technically, right? Anyway, so it's a good deal. And these are good headphones. If I had to describe the sound of this in one sentence, at worst, it's going to sound on par with an Alpha Explorer. At best, as in you use certain ear tips, it's going to be better than the Alpha Explorer for $22 or so. So let's get right into the logistics. Okay, so basically, in terms of bass, I thought the bass was like a grade of B. It's good. I'm not as picky with bass, but like I definitely don't like certain types of bass. So I don't like the bass from like really lean, weak sauce, like brightish IMs where like, where's the freaking bass? It's just like, it's just like, it's got a lot of quality, but not a lot of quantity kind of bass. I hate that bass. This is not that. This is better than that. So it's good bass, but this doesn't have power and impact and power, so I wouldn't say this is like an A, right? I would just say it's good. It's like, in other words, on the parts where it's supposed to have bass, like broom, 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 like it's there. You know what I mean? Sub bass on this is pretty weak. So the sub bass of this is, I would say, below correct. And so I would say it's polite. Now, when I say polite, I mean, basically this is like how that song, the sub bass, how that song is probably supposed to sound like. It's a little bit less than that, as in like, buddy, you need more sub bass. You need a little bit more. So it is a little bit less than correct. In terms of female vocals, if you use these stock ear tips, this is closer to, I would say, a B-. So female vocals are actually, they're full. They don't sound pitched up, or it's a little bit warm tilted, but there are two problems with it, especially when you use these ear tips. The first is, it almost sounds like there's artifacting in the voice. So the best way to explain it, if you've ever used Audacity noise reduction and you click it 3 times and you listen to the voice, you ever notice it adds something to the voice that's not supposed to be there? All right, this is just a really quick demonstration, but this is normal audio, like how it should sound. And now I'm going to show you how it sounds like when it has artifacting in it. All right, sorry for the awkward switch here, but this is audio. I want to demonstrate what artifacting kind of sounds like, or at least kind of what I'm hearing when I listen with the headphones. So this is when you listen closely, right? This is kind of how it sounds. A little bit off. It doesn't quite sound right? That's what it sounds like. There's a bit of artifacting. The second is this shh effect every single time. So when there's sibilance, or there's supposed to be sharp sibilance, you don't get sibilance. Instead, you get this shh effect. They're like, it's not harsh, but it's annoying. If you ever seen the movie Austin Powers, where he goes, I've got a whole bag of shh with your shh.
It's no hassle. But all I'm saying.
That's what it sounds like. It has this Austin Powers shh effect every single time there's sibilance, and that's annoying. So that's something to note. So to me, the female vocal on this, I give it a rating of B-, almost C. In terms of male vocals, I would actually give this basically like almost a B+, but basically a B+. Like, it's really, really well done. I was actually surprised at how well it does male vocals. Like, it sounds just damn good for male vocals. For Soundstage, it's pitiful, like an absolute joke. It's terrible on this. However, it does change dramatically with these ear tips, and we'll talk about that afterwards. So for female vocals, B+. Female vocals, I'd give it like a B-. And the male vocals, I would say it's like a B to a B+. And then for Soundstage, it's low. Comfort on this is S tier. Extremely comfortable. And in terms of sibilance, as in like how harsh and sibilant this gets when you really press it for sibilance, it's very low scores. It's very, very excellent scores. You will never get sibilance on this, kind of like the Alpha Explorer. However, when you add Tang Sancai Balance Sport ear tips, a couple things change. So the bass still sticks around B, sub bass still stays around polite. The female vocals go from a B minus to like about a B plus. Like it's actually like pretty good, and it's because you no longer get that artifacting here. It also opens it up a little bit, right? So because these kind of close it up and make it a little bit too dark on the female vocals, this, because it's a little bit balanced bore, it actually opens it up a little bit, but at the cost of adding a little bit of sibilance. So it starts to get, instead of the, like I said, that effect here where it goes, but you start to get a little bit more sibilance on here. But I would actually still give this a rating of, it goes up to about like a B plus on female vocals. Male vocals take a hit. So male vocals are better on this. This is slightly worse. So if this was a B plus, this drops to about a B, almost a B minus in male vocals. Soundstage on here goes from pitiful to average. And then comfort is still about the same. What happens when you add the HE Sonic ear tips? I've learned about these ear tips from Reddit. They were talking about these. These are dope, man. So what I like about these ear tips is that they're dirt cheap. These are like $6. And a lot of people were saying these are $6 and you get a whole stack of them. These are so much cheaper than Divinus Velvet. What happens when you do this? Bass stays the same. You still get around a B. Sub bass is still polite. But female vocals get closer to like an A. I swear, it's like basically it gets so much better. So there's something it's doing where at least with these particular IEMs, it kind of opens it up, but not too much. So there's not as much sibilance, but it's still opening it up at the same time. But also it has, it sounds full. Then with male vocals, it does take a hit. So if this is closer to B plus on male vocals, then these are closer to like a B, B minus. This is definitely B minus close to a C. So something is lost a little bit with male vocals on here. Soundstage on here goes to average. And I would say in general, like but this makes female vocals sound a lot better. So it depends. Obviously, this is more of like an ear tip chatter thing. But in general, like if I would say it's not an unfair statement for me to say these do at worst sound about as good as an Alpha Explorer, but at best it does sound like a better version of the Alpha Explorer. You just gotta wait. It took me like 12 days for this thing to get delivered. I think it's worth a shot, and I also do recommend checking out the HE Sonic ear tips. So that's all I want to say, and you guys have a great day. Goodbye.